How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel. For those returning, for those that are new, welcome to my channel. This is Eddie Star Tarot, and today I'll be doing a reading for the zodiac sign Aquarius. You guys, I am doing this on Saturday, but this is your Spiritual Friday reading. I dedicate these readings to the ascension process and to for you guys to help you through that, as well as spiritual evolution and just concepts and stuff like that to activate you guys. I know so it just depends on where you guys are at in the journey, right? A lot of you guys have already gone through some of this stuff, but the knowledge that I talk about and the wisdom is from my ancestors and from the past lives that I've lived, right? And so it will activate you guys on and get you guys going. So I know that there's readers on my channel. I don't condone jocking my shit, like taking my content, but and I already know that there's people doing that, but it's okay. It's flattery at the end of the day, to be honest, but I want to empower other readers as well. So the wisdom that I will give to you guys and the direction that you're supposed to take. So oftentimes when I see readers who are like, they got it, they activate me as well. So all of us kind of feed off of each other anyways. And you have to think about it like this, you guys. Source energy or wisdom that is all of our birthrights. It all comes from a source anyways, right? So it's all interchangeable at the end of the day. And we don't own it. We don't own wisdom. We like to think that we do, but we don't. It came from someone before us. So with all that being said, I said that for a reason. So maybe you guys are readers and you guys are dealing with people doing this to you, or it needed to be said or heard. You guys, so today I like to start off with story time, and I talk about, I pinpoint on a certain part of my ascension process. And today we're going to talk about coming out spiritually, authenticity, standing in your truth, and then judgment. I will, at somewhere around the 20-minute mark, get into these two decks. So I will pull oracles, and I'm using two different decks, as I said. It says that the secret language of light is the first one, and the second one is the white light oracle. If you are a reader, I recommend both of these decks because they are dense, powerful, and it's like literally one card. Like every time I would say even like a month passes and I come back to the same card, it means something totally different to me. So it's like super activating, and I would completely, if you guys don't have this deck, go get it, because this one is deep. But let's get into story time. Story time with Eddie. So let's talk about it like this, you guys. Like with all things, coming out is very difficult, right? Especially with the spiritual process, because people aren't going to understand it. They're going to call you crazy. All the things that you guys are worried about, you're fearful of, I promise you that it's going to come to fruition. And that's the most difficult part about this. You might, if like I said before, you guys might even be past this, but there's some people that are kind of come to my channel and they're going to be new to this, and they're probably riding the fence. So this is for them. I like to equate it to this. You're riding the fence, right? You dip your toes into the matrix or the old lifestyle, and then you dip your toes slightly into the spiritual field or the spiritual new path that God wants you or Creator wants you and been guiding you to go on. I always say that there's no wrong answer. There's no right answer either. There's just movement, and what is vibrationally a match to you and what is not. So I'll say it like this. Ask Your Souls is one of the cards that I had in the reading for Gemini. Also, you guys go check out your moon sign and rising sign. All of these, I would literally, you guys, when I go to readers, I look at every one of the readings. I don't limit myself to my sun sign, rising, or moon. I look at all of them because everything is telling me something, and you have to use discernment and wisdom. Try to approach things with an open mind, not a linear aspect, but more of an interwoven aspect. It's difficult because whatever your vibrational match, your soul, your higher self already has the answer and knows what you're supposed to do here. That's why you're having this spiritual evolution or evolvement, advancement or ascension, right? They want to get you guys on the path that you need to be on. You might keep veering off into something else that you're not supposed to be in. And I'll give you my example of how when my spirituality began. Funny that I say that, but my whole life has been a spiritual experience. It's just I acknowledged it at this time period. So I got sober January 20th of 2020. I was at the age of 33. So it took me a while to get this, you guys. But I don't know why I'm saying this, because maybe you guys are resonating with my story already. I had moments prior to that where I knew that there was something different about me. I just didn't acknowledge it because I was in the cycle of alcoholism. But one of the cycles is that I would get to a point where I would drink, binge, or I would go through maybe a year or so, and people would be pissed off with me, or I would lose jobs, stuff like that, right? The normal alcoholic thing, right? And then I would go back to a cycle where it's like, damn, I need to get help. And so I would continuously go down that path, and I would get back to that middle ground and have a choice: get help or go back to the cycle. So I would go back to the cycle, and I did that, you guys, from the age of 15 all the way up to the age of 33. Now, sometimes did I drink the whole time? No. But for the majority, yeah, it was on my mind, right? The disease was active. And I say this to you guys with a purpose. I want to get you guys in the idea and the mindset that it's not just about spirituality, even though that's the overarching theme here. But what I'd like to acknowledge is that we're all in these cycles in some way or another. I just use my most dramatic cycles to give you the picture. At some point, at the age of 33, when I lost everything, I was homeless. I was Eddie Shoeless, and had lost all my dignity, and no one wanted to deal with me anymore. I finally got to the point in the park where I said, God, I'm going to end this. I'm sorry. If there's anything that I could do at this point, please help me. And he gave me the knowledge said, go get help. You need to get help. And finally I did. And that was my turning point for me. And once I got help, you guys, that's when my journey began. So 6 months after that fact, so 6 months in sobriety, I had my spiritual awakening. And so I started to get all the downloads. I started listening to my communication. That was angel numbers. I would listen to the 333. I finally acknowledged it, and then I looked up the meaning of it and realized that every angel number that I was receiving was communication. And yeah, you got to go through your process, you guys. And speaking of next week, I'm going to talk about what I call the universal. So next Friday, I'm going to talk about the universal codex. That is the communication that your guides, God, the universe, whoever you communicating with. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I would tell you to go look at that reading, because it's going to give you a lot of information. It's going to help you through your ascension process. I'm just the key activator right now, right? You don't, like, maybe you might stick with me for a month or maybe a year or whatever, but at some point you're going to evolve from it. It's what's meant to happen. But when I started to acknowledge, so the honoring process already began, right? But I was being secretive about it because the people around me were very judgmental. But it's because I was judgmental too, you guys. Remember, we all mirror and project on other people. I was afraid that they were going to tell me that either I was crazy or that I was dabbling in the devil or shit like that, right? All the things, the thoughts that come into our mind when we start learning about tarot or learning about, for me, it was like I grew up Christian, so you're not supposed to go look up Buddhist stuff. You're not supposed to look into Mormonism. You're not supposed to look up, Hinduism. We have one God, not multiple gods, so why would you go look up Hinduism, right? But then there was this thirst for wisdom and knowledge for me, right? And I had to honor these processes, but I had to do it in secret. And see, that's where the issue begins with us, you guys. And so I implore you guys that you're going to have to get to the point where you honor it, but you're going to have to honor it in front of other people. And you're going to realize that these people were put in your life for a reason. A lot of you guys probably associate with being a black sheep or being ostracized. You've gone through trauma like myself. One of the most difficulties, you guys, is when we honor ourselves and we live in our authenticity. We figure out that the people around us, and you have to remember, you guys, if any problem that you have or the way that you act, the people around you that are closest to you act the same way. They have to, especially your family, especially your closest friends. Because you've been programmed a lot of the same ways, right? So when you change, that doesn't mean everyone else is going to change with you, especially with spirituality. Spirituality is going to start shifting other people's perspective, and they're not going to like it because you are moving out of that cycle. So I always call it the two-wave process. You're going to lose the first wave, and I'm going to show you how to do it. And you probably are like, wait, why would I want to lose my family? Why would I want to lose my friends? It's part of the ascension process. So you're going to have to set boundaries. You don't know, if you don't understand it yet, you're going to realize that you most likely are codependent on family members, or there's codependency on some level. If you're an empath, a light worker, starseed, if you are a healer, if you're into Reiki, or any of those numbers of things, if you're a healer, you have a certain energy to you, and people are addicted to it. With all that being said, most likely there's family members that downgrade you or diminish your process, but we'll get to that. The first part, you guys, is that you have to figure out the different attributes or aspects of the enabling process, codependency, relationships, and narcissism. Oftentimes I say this because we're not savvy on this type of stuff, right? And most likely you guys have a good heart. Most people who are chosen are star seeds or light workers, you have adapted to that lifestyle, like I said before. But there's something a little bit different about you. You might resonate with this. You are the evil they come from, but you are not the evil they are. Meaning is that you come from them, you grew up with them, but you don't think like them. Your heart is not like them. Maybe there's aspects where they've thrown you under the bus or lied about you, stuff like that, right? Scapegoating is what the word I'm trying to use for you. But you wouldn't do that to them, even after they hurt you and stuff like that. It's because your heart wasn't made to do that to other people. I say this, you will understand who is for you and who is not for you when you set boundaries. Setting boundaries, you guys, is no longer allowing people to scapegoat you, gaslight you, breadcrumb you. These are tactics that narcissists use. And I'm using these harsh words so you guys can go look these things up. You have to do your own work, and learn your own wisdom in regards to this. There are tactics to use as well to diffuse situations, gray rocking. I'm saying all these terms for a reason, so you guys to go look these things up. But when you start to set boundaries, the first wave will go away. These are the ones that didn't like you to begin with, but they definitely don't want to deal with you now because you're starting to stand in your power. The second wave is a little more interesting. These people are called karmics. They're all karmics, but there's a true karmic, you guys, and those are the ones that want to stick around. Half the time you have to understand is if you think that you have power and that you're a magician or you have this knowledge and wisdom, there are others that have that same wisdom. But like I said before, you guys, there's always a path to take. A lot of the times you have had this awakening process start, but you might have been denying it. You're in this process of walking the fence. The choice at the end of the day is what you're going to do with that power that God has given you. And you are being tested at this point. Are you going to keep going down that path, or are you going to go on this new path? Because this new path entails you to let go of ego, let go of pride, to walk with a moral compass, to walk with moral codes, spiritual codes, right? God is this force that is all good, all loving, right? That's what they say anyway. And so with that aspect, if we are trying to reach back to the source, we have to be that of the characteristics of God. Can we be God? No. But they say that our higher self is already with God, by source, with source. With that, all that being said, is that we have to live with ethics, codes, morals, stuff like that, right? That goes without saying. But the second wave of karmics, you guys, they're going to ones that are addicted to something about you. That something isn't money. That something isn't. It's energy at the end of the day. And I always say this: that money isn't the number one currency here. Energy is, your energy specifically, and they aren't the only ones addicted to it. You're probably, your girlfriend or your boyfriend has been addicted to your energy. They've probably scapegoated you. You're going to notice that most of your relationships have this dynamic. Eventually, and I'll let you guys know this, when you honor the process, honor your process, you have to live in your truths. Whatever you are, you have to be it, and you have to be it adamantly. If you want to be a Reiki practitioner, you need to go take certified lessons, and you need to be around your spiritual community. If you are a tarot reader, you need to be around tarot readers. You need to also study tarot. You need to read. But how do you do that when you're only around your family or you're only around your friend groups? You're going to have to shift away from them. The hardest part, you guys, is shifting to a higher place. When you shift to a higher place, going back to just the law of attraction, when you're calling something in, there's two different wavelengths. You're right here, and maybe your $1 million home is up here. In order for you need to get that $1 million home, you need to raise your vibration and meet at the same level. The same thing goes for when we're in this ascension process. You can't take people that are not at the same vibration with you on the journey. And I'm going to let you guys know the harsh, and I'm going to rip off the Band-Aid, is judgment. It's the last portion of this before I get into your guys' card reading. The hard part, you guys, is the fact that you're going to realize that you're going to have to let go of a lot of people. For me, in my experience, and it might be a little different for you, I had to let go of everybody. Everybody. I'm talking about everybody. When I say everybody, I mean everybody. So Aquas, that might be your case. It shows up a little differently. You have to use your own intuition, your own discernment about this. I don't know your life, but if it's anything like mine, it was more than just my family. It was more than just my friends. It was a community of people. I had to get out of a fucking city, you guys. And just because I left the city doesn't mean that they're not following me, because they are, right? The gang stalking didn't end there. But I'll get to those teachings in a different day. But judgment. So let's rip off the Band-Aid of judgment, you guys. This is going to be difficult because at a certain point right now, I'm getting you to the point where you can get into the place where you are comfortable with being in a spiritual community and walking your path. Part of it is letting go of the people around you so you can understand and be in your own energy. When I told you about judgment and projection, right? You have the qualities of those people. And then the next part, and I will get to this, is that you're going to have to take accountability for who you are and what you're doing with your life. You have to understand is like, this is where we go through this part of spiritual, I call it spiritual narcolepsy or a spiritual stagnancy. It's like this meantime in between time, as I call it. It's like this place where you realize, damn man, I'm not that good of a person either, right? Like I do this shit that they do as well. And you'll notice because you'll start getting new friends and you'll treat them weird, right? It's because you'll start to notice that you are just like the people that you came from. So you're going to start this healing process where you acknowledge and take 100% accountability for where you're at. That's a teaching for a different day, but I just want to get you guys kind of introduced to what I'm trying to talk about. Then it gets to the point, you guys, where you have to go through this fear of judgment. But the big thing, you guys, is the fact that you're your worst critic at the end of the day. Those people are just the outer expression of your inner expression. For me, you guys, I get judged even today. Like it hasn't stopped. 2 years and 3 months later, I'm still being judged, man. 2 weeks ago, I got a call from one of my old army buddies, and I said I was doing tarot reading, and she laughed at me. You know, I'm getting judged today, right? I think she called me mentally ill and shit like that. You know what I mean? So it's like you're going to have people who just won't understand your spiritual walk. It's not meant to be understood by everybody. So you're going to have to stand in your power regardless. But I promise you the reward is endless, and the journey that you're meant to walk in service to other people on this planet, it is honorable. It is an honorable process, you guys. but you got to get yourself there. Yeah, I got judged by the people around me. They said he just wants attention. Oh, he's still drinking. Dude, he must be doing drugs. What the hell is he talking about? What is he, a philosopher? All the shit that I was scared that they were going to say, they said. So my biggest fears came to fruition. But it's because, you guys, this judgment needs to take place so you stand in your power. Because at some point you're going to start to shine your light, like myself, right? There was a point where I could not even speak to my phone, and it's just me in this room right now, right? There was a point that I couldn't even talk. I was stuttering, and I was like, dude, people are going to judge me. I can't do this. How am I going to put my content out there? God, spirit guides, please clear my energy. I can't do this. AQUARIUS, you're going to go through the same process. You're going to have to shine your light for other people. That's what you're meant to do in this planet. You're probably very beautiful. You're probably intelligent off the charts. You probably have psychic gifts that it's like insane, right? You're not meant to be like other people. People are meant to look up to you. You're meant to be a leader, but you've got to get into the leadership position. In order to get there, you have to let go of the shit, the garbage. That is the lesson for today. Let's get into your card read. Spirit, what do we have for Aquarius? For next week, you guys, I'm going to talk about I think I said it to you already, the Universal Codex. And that's communication with your spirit guides, or God, or the divine, whatever you guys resonate with. Spirit, what do we have today for Aquarius? Pick the top. We have, there is only light. Beautiful. I am going to be reading the book readings, you guys, because the book readings are intense. Okay, so you might be 30 years old, or you resonate with the number 30. You might be a life path 3, which is in communications. If you don't know what your life path number is, there is a process. Go look up how to look up your life path number, or go look up your natal chart as well. There is only light, meaning going back to there is only energy, right? You are energy. It's just a variation or a vibration that's shifted. It's a spectrum. There's different spectrums of light as well. If there's only light, that means that, and two, all of these cards is a meditative state, right? So these are all transmissions of your soul. Your soul's continuously getting this guidance, this wisdom. Also, there's a higher self. It's coming from somewhere. Where the hell is this coming from? It's the ethers, it's source, it's God. It might even be you, your higher self, trying to give you the information you need to walk in this world, right? Let's you guys concentrate on your solar plexus, activating your solar plexus, healing your solar plexus. It's going to be transformative. You guys are probably seeing the sign for this. You're possibly seeing is the lotus flower. Maybe you guys even sitting in the sun as well. You guys are seeing sacred geometry. You're seeing lotus flowers. All those things mean something, so look them up. Look up the spiritual meaning for lotus flower. Look up the spiritual meaning for solar plexus. How do you ungum your solar plexus? What is sacred geometry? When you guys look this stuff up, you guys are going to recognize that there is more to the world, more to the universe. Maybe you're not as far along as I am. Maybe you are. It just depends. You need to look these things up, though. Okay, it says, darkness is just an absence of light. Light is sought after and extraordinary. We seek clarity of light, a lightness of being in a light bulb of moments. Light bypasses the analytical mind and takes us straight into the loving wisdom. It is time for you to step into your shining light. Be illuminated. Let light in. Today is the day to release any disturbances in your energy. Aquarius, I've been talking about this all day. You got to release people, places, and things, and stand in your beauty. Today is the day to release the disturbances in your energy. Happiness will come naturally, unless you do something to prevent it from happening. Release all that is stopping happiness from flowing into your world, and it will appear before you. It seems too easy, but it is truly that simple. Until you realize this, you remain connected to the belief that struggle is required. Oh, that's so difficult. I understand that. Perhaps more respected, less lesson-laden path. We often take on the belief that if we struggle, others will think more of us, and we will appreciate things more. When we go against our soul, you move away from your brightness. The darkness is a sign it is time to feel your way back into your heart and soul. That's beautiful. So going back to the solar plexus as well, you guys, the process doesn't need to be difficult. Oftentimes, the reason why, and there's another card, and the meaning, I'm going to another card, and I forget what the card mean, or the card says for this meaning, but I know what they say in the description. It says, oftentimes we would get to this world, grow up, go through the process, right? But we don't grow up with the knowledge of spirituality, right? Or we go through the programming of what we have on Earth, right? Whether it's systematic programming or your peer group, it just depends. Your mother, your father, their principles, their ideas. Unfortunately, a lot of the times in this process, there's so much trauma and so much baggage, so much deceit. There's so much generational curses, right? You take that on, and we bring that in our process, but we don't go through the process of, facing our dark side, facing what we have going on. We would face it, transmute it, and then move forward. But it's not that easy for us. We have to go through this process where we recognize that I have to do shadow work, right? I have to do an inventory on myself continuously. I have to be able to spiritually evolve. The process is more complex because the state that we are in on the earth, right? There's a lot of oppression. And a lot of greed, power. There's people that don't want you to wake up. And going back, you guys, to the heart solar plexus too, it is as easy as you allowing, right? You're healing your heart right now, and that's one of the big things here. So listen to your heart. Listen to your heart. I don't know why it's coming to me. Yeah, keep looking forward to that. I'm going to move transition to the next deck. Spirit, what else do we have? I'm going to title this. Let me write the title down real quick. There is only light. You are the light. Because you are, Aquarius, you are a light being. Spirit, what do we have? Awesome. We have Sacred Scar. Wow, I like it. And I'm going to be reading the book reading for this as well. It says Sacred Scar 11. What you see in between, we have the scar in the chest area. For some of you guys, possibly you guys did have a transplant, or maybe even had open heart surgery, or there's some type of scar that you have. I'm getting that for some of you. Some of you have a scar on your face. Some of you have light hair, blonde hair, or platinum. Colored eyes. People often say there's something to do with your guys' eyes. When you're in the sun, you guys receive light codes. In nature as well. You guys resonate, for a lot of you, of course, as you resonate with water in the sun. And in the water, you resonate with the mermaid. So look up all this stuff, because this stuff is going to activate you. You could resonate with the Atlantis, or you were Atlantean in a past life. But right now, the Sacred Scar, to me, it is the journey. To me, it's the silver lining, right? I talk about all this oppression that I've had, this adversity that I've grown through. Right, to me, it's a lot of baggage. It was some stuff that was keeping me down. I didn't want to deal, because I went through abuse as a kid, right? Childhood. I was neglected and abandoned. I wasn't treated with love. I wasn't nourished, and so I took that shit into my adulthood, and then I began to hurt other people. Right, I began to I got codependent on alcohol, and then even people, bad relationships, and I kept going through that rotation. Right. It was a scar for me, but eventually it healed when I decided to start getting help. But now when I look back at it, I can use those things to empower other people, right? I use it as medicine for other people. That is the process, you guys. But let's see what it says in the book. Your inner and outer scars are marks of your soul's courage. They are signs of strength and survival, of your willingness to be alive. The sacred scar speaks of that which once caused pain being transformed into higher knowledge and inner power. Trauma shall be transformed through spiritual initiation, leading you from woundedness to wisdom. Exactly what I just told you. You have nothing to be ashamed of. You can trust your healing process and in the hidden higher purpose behind things happening as they do. You are strong and you shall flourish on all levels. I like that. The activation that I get when I hear that is that there's always a silver lining in all that happens to you, and even when it seems chaotic, or even when and I'll use an example I gave in another reading. I often think about when I got sober, you guys, at the 6-month mark, I had my spiritual awakening, but I also had I would say one of my first major tests of if I was going to go back to alcohol. I had a brother who died. He had committed suicide, and he died from my disease, the disease that I suffer from, right? And at that time period, 2 months before the actual event happened, I was getting these downloads, and Spirit was trying to tell me, call Jacob, and that's my brother's name. And I didn't listen to it at that time period because I wasn't ready to recognize and stand in my own authenticity. So you guys, there's moments, experiences in my life, even in my spirituality, where I didn't acknowledge myself, and it was a major lesson to me. I say this because it's a scar to me. This is like, and I get choked up, and there's a ball in my throat right now thinking about it, because I had been so I had gone through this process year after year for 15 years, right? From 15 all the way up to the age of 33. And I felt I could have helped him, right? And I had the knowledge, I had the wisdom. At that point, I could never get to 6 months, right, of sobriety, and I had the cure to his problem. It's not to say that I was going to be able to help him, but I definitely, Spirit was telling me, you need to call him, tell him what you're doing. But I was too embarrassed. I thought that maybe he would judge me or think that I was stupid or that I was going to try to be like this person who was telling him what to do, right? I didn't want to be judged like that. And, when it all happened and things had settled down, I thought to myself, damn, I should have told him something. And then I started to blame myself. And we go through the grieving process a little differently, but one of the silver linings in that process, and it's very difficult, there's time that had to go by. I went a whole year before I learned this knowledge of, I can't ever not speak my truth. I can't stand, if I don't stand in my own authenticity, I may allow someone to pass over or not get the wisdom that they need. I am denying people their medicine. By me telling my story, I might empower another human being who walks their own journey and helps other people, right? I empower other people. All I want to do here is motivate. I want to activate and accelerate and ascend you. So I will never not speak my truth. I will never not stand in my own power and give other people medicine. That was the lesson that I got from it. So even in the most traumatic of situations, there's a silver lining. There's chaos. Even in chaos, there can be love. God, in this platform, we say, why does God allow chaos to be here? Why does God allow pain to be here or fear to be here? That is the process of evolution. If God just gave you nothing but love, why do you think you're here in the process anyways? You probably at some point started to question God, right? You just don't remember where you come from. You don't know how ancient you are, how much wisdom you actually obtained. You'll get to a point where this is all going to make sense, but you have to realize that you came here because you wanted a separation from God, from the source, because you want to experience what the other side is, and now you're getting shown it. Why do you think that the things that are here? You need to, in order to recognize the dark, you have to see the light. In order to see the light, you have to recognize the dark. You have to experience suffering to know what peace is, what harmony is. You have to experience hatred to understand what love is. You have to understand that even the people that I said, my family, my old friends, it is not their fault. Even though I judged them for a long time, right? These are all processes to this. It takes a certain amount of healing to get to the point of, you know what? They went through the same pain that I went through, right? Even if I think that I went through more. No, they went through neglect too, abandonment, abuse. They just don't like talking about it. They hide it a little bit better, but they're still going through that pain. There's a void. It's hard to come to the perspective of, because they hurt me, I want to be in hatred towards them. That is you perpetuating the suppression or oppression process, right? Or me doing that. You got to get to the point where I recognize, you know what? I can love them from a distance, but I can't be a part of the addiction anymore. I can't be a part of the relationship until they heal. And they may never heal in my lifetime. So I might have to love them from a distance until whatever happens in the next lifetime, right? That takes a certain amount of wisdom. But let's keep going, you guys, because we're already at 36 minutes. It says, some experiences are hard to weather, even when our intention is to trust. Going through a challenging time is likely to give us rise to suffering. Consider the mother eagle raising her precious eaglets in the sanctuary of meticulously padded and fiercely defended nests. They know safety and comfort until one day the mother who provided unceasing nurturance. Damn, you guys, check that out. This is your process with God. I always say this, man. If you want to know who God is or the Creator, look at His design. Go back to what I said about sacred geometry. Go about His design. Also, if you want to know who God is, look at how a child acts. Look how a child is taught. Look at the dynamic of the family, and you'll get the experience of God. That's how we figure out. We'll figure out who God is when we look at His designs. He made all of us, right? He made the planet. He made the universe. Look at the stars, the natal charts. Look at your natal chart, and I promise you'll get a better understanding of yourself. Look at His trees. Look at how they're made. Look at the planetary systems. Look at how your mind is made, how your body is, the mind, body, and spirit. Start looking and understanding your mind, how it works. Start looking at how your heart space works. Start understanding chakra systems. Start understanding all that knowledge, and you will get that He made you specifically the way that you are meant to be made. And this is a beautiful depiction of that as well. It says, consider the mother eagle raising her precious eaglets in the sanctuary of a meticulously padded and fiercely defended nest. They know safety and comfort until one day the mother who provided unceasing nurturance abruptly pushes them out of the nest and into the air. She knows this is how they will learn that they can fly. Whew, I want to cry right now, you guys. God pushed you out the nest, and I think that you wanted that on a soul level as well. To push you off the nest to see if to have you guys fly. To be in your own true divinity, because you are divine already, but you have to go through this place to figure out how divine you are. But you may get trapped here. You guys, I'm going to show you something. But you probably don't know this yet, but you are an angel. You are around God. You're around His throne, but you are here right now. Don't get caught in the evils. Don't get caught in the mundane. Don't get caught in the suppression. You've already been there. Now we're trying to get you out of hell. Your hell. Because the devil is just an architect. You don't see him. I don't know. I've never met the devil. I've never met God either. But on some level, I know both of those archetypes. They're you. What are you going to give attention to? Where is your focus? Are you going to give it to the devil? To the dark side of yourself? Or are you going to give it to the light side of yourself? Because you obtain both sides. When it says, I like to go through the depiction of the process, and I think about it like this, man. I always like to be in the mind of God. I like to think about how he would think of us, how He thinks of things, or she. God can be both, right? I like to go from the aspect of how the Bible says that the devil thought that he can do the job better than God, right? And so God kicked the devil out of heaven, or the heavens, and he's on earth now, right? Think about that aspect. I think about it like this, where if we're all having this experience on the earth, that means the devil's here in this platform. What does that tell you? Most likely this might be hell, right? This is a test. This is a test for you to evolve. It's more than just making money. It's more than just obtaining power. You're trying to evolve spiritually. You're trying to get back to the source. You're trying to get back to the light, right? So with that being said, think about how God probably thought about it after that. I would just think about it like this. If I was in this place where I'm in heaven, right? And I am the emperor of this place, and someone tried to take my position and thought I was going to do it better than me, and I had created it for him, and he was my best angel, because the devil was the most beautiful angel, right? Called the morning star. Who gets called the morning star? You have to be the brightest light in the sky. God adored him at some point. And then I believe got hurt by this devil, or by this being, right? This angel, and got kicked out. If his closest angel got kicked out, he probably had to do a reform in his own evolution. He probably thought about, and like I would do the same thing. Wait a minute, if one mutinied, how many of these other people are mutinying? Because the devil did take a whole bunch with him, right? And think about that dynamic, right? The narcissist who wants to take people with him. They need to make sure in order to isolate one, you got to get people around that being, right? You got to get them to see your perspective, even if that perspective is insane. So think about it like this. What if every being has to go through this process to see if they are divine, or they are about God, or they do want to go back to the process? Maybe God said, you know what? If you don't want to be a part of this, if you don't want to be a part of my kingdom, I'm going to give you the opportunity to make a decision. Go to earth, have this experience, and see what happens. I think that a lot of us get stuck in this cycle for a very long time because of what happens here. Think about it. I think about my life in the aspect of, do you build karma in this place? Absolutely. It goes without saying. I'm saying this to you guys, Aquariuses, for a reason. It's going to activate you on some level, but think about it like this. Do you feel like an old soul? Most likely you do, because you've probably done this a whole bunch of damn times. Give yourself a chance. Stop going into that dark side. Give yourself to go into this ascension process. Stand in your power. Heal yourself, and then heal your heart space. Finally heal it and break the generational curse, so you guys can ascend. What are you ascending to? You're ascending back to God, whether you want to admit that or not. And a lot of people don't. It all starts and ends with God at the end of the day. Do you want to be in the light, or do you not? You guys, I'm gonna end your reading there. It's been beautiful. I got real deep there. Aquarius says you're probably very deep. I got mad love for you guys. Hey, help my channel to grow, you guys. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's read.